Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Alexandra from Trolling Pages, and I'm the co-host of Subtle Asian Book Club with Tiffany at Read by Tiffany, and we're so excited to be talking about An Ember in the Ashes with special guest Jananie from The Story Ain't Over, who we know is a big fan and has read it a couple times. We're so excited to talk with everyone.
We're so excited to have her with us today because, I don't know, when I think of this book, I think of you automatically.
Yay!
Yeah,
That's the brand I want. Love it.
Yeah, that's why when we were brainstorming as like who to invite, we're like, Jananie!
Love it. I'm so excited to be here. So yeah, I was so excited when you told me about this.
Let's recap the book. Who wants to go?
Awesome. I can recap it really quickly, but feel free to jump in with any thoughts. But essentially, the story starts off like literally with a bang. It starts off with so much action right off. Our main character is Laya, who is on the main cover. And essentially, she is a scholar, and they're treated as slaves within this kingdom. And oh my God, I'm so bad at this. The second that she gets home one day, her brother's like, oh my God, hide the sketchbook, hide this. People are coming. And these people are the marshals who essentially end up viewing that her brother is part of a resistance or rebellion to overthrow the kingdom. And her brother, unfortunately, gets taken off to prison to be questioned. And unfortunately, her nan and her pa, who are her grandma and grandpa, get killed. And so Laya's kind of on this mission to save her brother, who has been in prison, because she knows that if you're in prison, there's going to be torture, there's going to be really sad things. And she's really, really worried, obviously, because family. And she sees the resistance as people who can potentially break her brother out. And as a kind of tit for tat, she has to kind of masquerade as one of the commandant slaves. Earlier, I was talking to Alexandra, and I was like, the commandment. She's like, what are you talking about? But the commandant slave, but of course, the commandant is also a marshal who treats his scholars very, very poorly. And then on the other side, we have Elias, who is a soldier at Blacksmith Academy. And he is, actually, I don't want to say that, the spoiler, but he has been kind of living his whole life thinking that maybe he doesn't want to live this life as a soldier because he sees how terribly the marshals treat the scholars. So he's been thinking of deserting until things take place. I don't know how to go into spoilers yet. And that's where kind of like the book takes off. Those are like chapters 1 and 2, and then we're on an action-packed ride from there.
That was a great summary. You like.
I'm like, what do I say without spoiling yet?
Yeah. So hard.
Yeah, so much happens right away. Like so much happens right away.
Yep. I know the dying just happens like right away too.
I was so surprised that this was young adult because the things that happened, I was like, oh my God. And then I read the next page, I'm like, oh my God. So I was really shook by that.
Yeah, it's somehow like
violence of dying. Yeah.
Yeah, it just gets like more and more intense. And also the ending. Wait.
Can you just take off the banner? Let's just go into spoilers.
Okay, yeah, okay. We're just gonna talk about this. Okay. The ending.
Yes.
I'm just like.
Well, like even from chapter 1, you're like, okay, things are going well. This is like kind of giving me, at first it kind of gave me Legend vibe because I love the sibling dynamic. And then you see that her like family get killed and I'm like, okay, no, this is like way more intense. And then you get to chapter 2 and it's like, not chapter 2, it's chapter 4, where a little boy kind of, he's like 9 years old, I think. He gets whipped to death essentially. And
Black
things are so intense. And then we hear more about like Cook's story and Izzy. And I'm just
intense.
It's intense.
It's very Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
If it's Game of Thrones, Marcus is Joffrey.
Yeah. Honestly. Yeah, because like a lot of books get compared to Game of Thrones for being fantasy, but I feel like this is the one where it's like it has the same kind of death toll. So that actually works. Yeah.
And it's so ruthless about like killing friends too. Like that one trial where they have to go against each other. I was like, oh my God, this is so sad.
Yeah, the trials are all really brutal. Like even from the first one is like I would say like the least emotionally taxing. You know what it is? It's like already like
it is still,
and like stuff, but then like I'm comparing it to the other two, and those other two are like all pretty bad, and so it just gets worse, and it just gets like harsher and harsher.
The third trial, yes, agreed.
Yeah.
That killed me. I remember like almost sobbing, I think, when I was reading that the first time because I'm really dramatic, but yeah.
That's a mood though. Like I think I hated Marcus throughout the entire book, but then having to read that one part where he's like in shock after killing his brother, I was like, well, maybe I do feel sympathy for you. And then you get to it later on in the parts of the book where he's just terrible again. I was like, okay, no.
Yeah, I remember there's like this like specific line where Marcus is like, do you know what Zach's like first words were? It was my name. And then he's like having this moment where he's like, I just killed my brother.
He's like, I think it was like my first words were like his first words were Marcus and his last words were also his name.
Yeah.
So brutal. I really like all of the characters, but
Elias. The sausage cinnamon bun.
He's very so sweet.
Such a cute.
Yeah.
But like, I like totally.
Sorry. Go.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, kind of spinning off of like Marcus. I really like how, like, you kind of really see, and it's similar to the way Sabaa like really goes into the violence, but then it's more like she's not afraid to shy away from the violence, but then also you get to see how like typical antagonist characters are really multifaceted, and you're like, oh wait, there's like still human, even though like people like the Commandant are like, are you really sure they're human? But then like there's like that moment where you go flashback to her giving Elias back to the tribe or whatever, and she's like going through something. You're like, oh wait, she has emotions, maybe.
When you first read it and you're like, she's a mother? Like what?
Yeah.
He's her spawn.
Yeah, I know. This woman procreated? Like how?
Ooh, it said.
I need to grab my charger really quick.
I wish we got to know who some of the characters. Yeah, I think I read the second book, but honestly, I have really bad memory. I read it a few years ago, and I remember nothing from the second book. But do we get to see more of them?
I feel like she kind of keeps a lot of things like secret, and it's like letting out like backstories like in pieces. So yeah, you get to know more in like the later books, but I definitely feel like she's saving some of it for like the last book. Is kind of the feeling I'm getting.
Yeah. Like
I feel like there's so much that is hinted at in this book that I wish we'd dive more into, but I'm like, it's the first book, obviously, like she can't give everything away. So I want to know more about the magic system, and also I don't want to pronounce like the blacksmith guy, Telamon?
Oh, Telamon, yeah.
Telamon, okay.
Spiro Telamon?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he was kind of an interesting character. He like shows up for like a little bit in the first book, and I won't say if he shows up in the later book.
I feel like he has to. Like he's such a big character.
I don't see. Yeah, that is.
Yeah, and also I feel like usually a lot of times for series starters, they're almost like a prologue to the actual story. But like even so, like even this was like a prologue, but there's so much happens to the point where like, wait, this is a lot, but it feels like a prologue.
Yeah.
Who would you say was your favorite character throughout the book? Or maybe like even your favorite side character? I feel like mine is Laya and then Izzy.
I love Izzy.
Yeah, but I wish we got more of her.
Side character. And I can't decide between Laya and Elias because I like them both equally for different reasons.
I like Elias's heart, but then in this book, I was like, after I finished, I was like, there's so many moments where he just thinks of his dick.
It's
so
true though. Oh my god.
At first I was like a little annoyed because when he sees Laya, it's a very insta-lovey, but then I can also see the part where he's like, oh, she's technically a slave, but there's something about her. She like feels so empowering. And he's very empathetic as a person too. So I'm like, okay, I can totally vibe with that.
Yeah.
But then there'll be times where he's just like, oh, Helene. And then he's like, and then I'm thinking about kissing her.
Yeah. Yeah. But he's so obtuse. Yes. Exactly.
Yeah, I think it was more prominent in my reread, but I was like, I was texting Tiffany as I was reading this. I was like, why is this guy so horny? Like, he needs to like stop focusing on like his crushes for these two girls, and like it doesn't really make sense. And there's like a weird love polygon going on.
Yeah, but go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about the romance. I kind of don't really like it because I feel like the love triangle was not really necessary. It would have been might have been better if it was just like them focusing on like the emotional tension between Laya and Elias. But then at the same time, when was this published? Like
2015.
Yeah, a while ago.
Yeah, okay. Like I remember like around that time it was like a big trend, like love triangles were a thing, and it was like selling romance, and I get that. So yeah, but I feel like it would have been different, and I prefer if it was like focused on the singular one. But I don't know. That's just me.
I think I like it was weird reading it the first time because usually I like romances where like there's just like one clear love interest and like it just goes in a smooth way. But I think for this series, it just like makes everything complicated as the series goes on. And there's like so much angst that builds up that it just makes for a great read. I don't know, personally, I just love it. But yeah, and I also just feel like you don't know what the characters are going to do because based on like where their loyalties kind of lie. But yeah, I definitely agree that like Elias is thinking with a stick most of the time. But then there's some parts where I was like, this seems kind of realistic for like a 16, 17-year-old boy. That's so true. Like, I'm not gonna, so.
Yeah, I can't discount them for that because it's like, truthfully, if I were in a situation like, this is such a shitty time with everything going on. Like, you need that romance to have like a little spark in your life.
Yeah, that's true, because that was another thing I was thinking when I was rereading it. I was like, without the little bits of romance, I feel like the book would have gotten kind of depressing because there's so much like horrible stuff happening to all the characters like the entire time.
Yeah, so. That makes sense. That makes sense.
I feel like it's also, sorry.
Go.
I feel like it's also a different experience because we're reading this after it's been published for 5 years and 2 of the other books are already out. So then I went into this thinking like, okay, this is going to be a book and the romance is going to be with Laya and Elias. And then Helene shows up and then she's like the best friend. I'm like, okay, I can kind of see where this is coming from, but like, why is none of this getting resolved yet? And so it's like very confusing for me because I'm like, I'm just waiting to get to the parts with Laya and Elias.
Yeah. It gets more complicated in the second book.
Oh no.
For sure. And like in the later books. So yeah.
Yeah. Looking back, I was like thinking about it and I was like, okay, wait. On one hand, I think I would prefer if it was just like between the two of them, but on the other, it would make sense to have Helene there because like she's such a vital character, and a really big trait of her character is her loyalty to Elias. So like having her like not be romantically attracted to them and like him being like kind of horny at times would like not make sense plot wise. So
for sure. Yes.
In some ways, Elias is like a himbo, but he's like not at the same time. I really love that one scene where they're at the dance because I think it's like the festival, and then he sees Kate and he's like,
I know exactly what you're talking about.
I'm taller than him.
The most petty line of the whole series. It's not even that. I
love it.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't. Okay, this is like not really a spoiler, but kind of like hinting at something to look forward to if you're like hesitant about the love quartet. Like,
does Helene get a POV in the later books?
She does. From the second book onwards, she gets POV. Yeah.
I feel like that's.
Yeah, I agree with the comment about the couples that are established by the end of book 3. Do agree because there's
reassuring
new characters too. So.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I'm always scared thinking about. I was really scared going into this because I feel like the Penguin Team social media accounts and also just like Sabaa's social media accounts are always like she's ruthless with her characters, and I'm like, how do you get more ruthless? Like, then what's going on in this?
Well, just you wait until book 2 and 3. more people
I
die.
feel like a main character is gonna die, and I'm like, oh no.
Yeah, that's what I'm scared about for who's gonna die in the last book.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah, I feel like that's also like a trend in like a lot of like big high fantasies where they're like, well, we've already had so much dying in the first couple of books, so like might as well continue on and make it even more extreme in like the last book. But
The only death I'm looking forward to is Marcus's.
yeah.
Yep.
I wish we got more of the resistance in this book. I feel like we didn't get to see too much of them play out, mainly because Laya's at Black Cliff spying on everybody, and then Elias's POV is also from Black Cliff. But I feel like that probably plays a big role in book 2 then.
Yeah, I definitely feel like the resistance shows up more in book 2 especially.
Yeah, I feel like there was a lot already that happened in this book. It was just like, there's so much going on. So
did you guys anticipate Mazin like being a traitor kind of towards Laya?
So I kind of knew that there was something fishy about the resistance, but I like couldn't tell where it was coming from. But yeah, I was like, I think the first time I read it, I was like shocked still.
Yeah.
And then the second time I kind of forgot what happened. And so I was like, hang on. And then I like remembered like 3 seconds before like I got to the point, and I was like, oh yeah.
That's literally me. Yeah. I think like I don't really remember my reaction when I first read it, but then like I forgot everything. So when I reread it, I was like not as shocked because I was like, wait, I remember this happening. But at the same time, like, wait, this happened? Yeah.
I was like kind of anticipating it because there was that one part where Laya finds out like Darren's in this one like cell or like one prison, and then when she's talking to Elias, he's like, "Oh, that prison's like a small one. Like they don't really keep people there." She gets kind of suspicious.
Yeah.
Like, okay, that guy's suspicious.
Yeah, that's just a light bulb moment.
Yeah. You don't trust.
Ooh. Someone talked about the Fairy Loot editions.
Oh yeah.
I so want those so badly.
You deserve them. I feel like if anyone deserves them, you deserve them.
Really, but they're like ridiculously expensive, and I think like the shipping to Canada is like ridiculously expensive too because I'm Canadian, so
yeah,
I'm gonna cry for years, but we'll see. Maybe I'll.
Did they release yet?
I don't know. Actually,
I don't think so.
I think I like took a look, saw how expensive shipping was, and I was like, I can't keep looking at this, or else I want to buy it. So
yeah. It just makes you sad.
Yeah.
I just want to see more authors of color getting the merch that they deserve. And also Sabaa's like a pioneer for fantasy authors too. So I'm like, she deserves this.
Yeah. I think, wait, did someone mention that it was like the only edition that they were going to have for like special stuff?
Oh, really?
She posted on her social media because people were like asking her whether there'd be more special editions, like if other boxes were doing it, and she said that would be the only one, like very late.
That's like planned right now. Yeah. I really hope these like get like 10 years from now get like those fancy 10-year editions. I want that for Sabaa.
Yeah.
Deserve. So deserve.
I want it. The gold foil, like the just really fancy. Yeah.
I wonder if she's planning on writing a series after this.
Yeah, I'm curious because she said things before about how she wants to write like contemporary, like a contemporary of some kind. She also wants to write.
That's such a big change.
Yeah. Like,
so I'm interested. I also, oh my god, okay, so she has like the cutest love story between her and her husband, which I know from like really bad stalking online. But so I remember her tweeting once that she's one day gonna write that story into some sort of novel. So yeah, but it was like this cute story. She used to work for like some paper, I think. She was like an editor, and he wrote into her column because she had written this article about like growing up like as a Pakistani woman and whatever in America, and like, you know, her expectations for like finding someone of her culture and everything, like her parents' expectations to find someone of her culture. for like marrying, that kind of thing. And so she was like, yeah, but how am I gonna find like a guy who's like from my background but also like loves the bands that I like and like, you know, all this like American culture stuff. And so her husband wrote to the column about how he was like hit all the boxes and he was like, you know, can we chat? Something like that. But
Wait, that is so cute.
Yeah. And so
It's like sending in his own personal application.
Yeah, it was like the weirdest thing, but yeah, so
I read that.
The goal.
Definitely read
yeah,
that.
exactly.
It's like vintage sliding into her DMs, but like sliding into
right? Like seriously. The romance.
That's bold though. I would like that's bold.
Yeah. And the fact that I know the story is like just so I can't even remember how I figured it out, but like I think I was like reading on her Twitter or like some blog post that she had done like years and years ago.
No, my gosh. I feel like when you really stan like a book or like an author.
Yeah, you just go deep dive.
We deep dive. I remember like Rebecca Kwong was like, how did she meet her boyfriend? I love this story. It's so cute. And then all like the OG authors too.
I know my like worst nightmare would be Sabaa like watching this and hearing me tell this story.
No, my gosh. We're a small, cute little book club. Don't worry.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Anyway. Yeah.
Please don't judge us. We just love you.
Yeah.
That's exciting. Wait, like contemporary though, that'd be so different. I'm really excited though because I really liked her writing. It was like really poetic and really like.
Yeah, I know, and I'm curious to see like how she. Oh, sorry.
No, keep going.
I'm curious to see like how she, because her writing is so like atmospheric and like poetic and stuff, but like since the series is like so plot heavy, like she just has to kind of move it along. But I wonder how she would like do with like a contemporary that's like kind of more character focused. Like I feel like it would be really nice when she didn't have to like run through like so many action scenes and all that.
I really liked her writing. I was like highlighting a couple quotes, but then afterwards I was kind of just like, okay, look, I can't highlight. I just need to keep reading. And then I started and I was
reread. I was like, oh. And then I had to like when I was getting to the end, I was like running out of stickies, and I had to like go back and like take some off and like. Anyways, yeah, continue, Tiffany.
Just reader struggles. That one quote was like the guilt thing, which is like there's two ways like you can have guilt change you. Like, it can either just like weigh you down, or you can use it and channel it into something else. Like, oh my god, this is so good. But then also I'm just like, I love her writing. It's like I feel like it's flowy, but it's not like overly flowery. Some books I feel like they're weighed down by the writing, and then this one was like the perfect medium for me. And then at the same time, I was like, it's getting hit with so much torture and dark themes. I just kept getting shook.
Yeah.
I think she's like really good at like getting you to sympathize with her characters regardless of who they are. Yeah, I just like fell for them all. Like, oh, my heart is hurting for you.
Yeah, that's why when I think about it, I'm like, I think Helene is one of my favorite characters, even though like I don't like her like as a person, but like I really liked reading about her because she is like so morally gray, and I don't agree with her at times. So it's like
I actually really love her in the third book. Like I kind of hated her guts for the first two, but when you get to the third book, like her character grows in ways that you like don't see coming, and it just I love the character growth in Sabaa's books. It's basically my thing.
I'm like looking forward to that so much because in this book I was just like, there was this one quote, she's like, we conquered them, like we annexed the scholars, like they just gotta be slaves, like just live with it. And I was like,
you're like,
who are you? What kind of BS is this? But then I think Elias kind of lashes out at her in the same way when she refuses to heal her through the singing, and then afterwards she like ends up doing it. But then I was like, okay, so she's like not terrible. Like I can see where she's coming from, because she's literally raised with those values, but she's like trying to challenge them, but she's just not at the level where Elias is at yet.
Yeah. And then like sometimes it's like I can't really blame her because like that's just what she was taught and like brainwashed to believe. Like it's just like if you were surrounded by a bunch of people who believe that, then they just accept that as the norm. And then like you have to have someone like Elias who's there to tell you like, hey, this is not right. Yeah. You should not do this. And so and
I think she's like really interesting in that way, because like you are like kind of conditioned to hate her because she is, you know, just following along with everything. But like you're as she grows as a character throughout the series, like you're starting to understand that perspective. And I think it's like kind of it's an interesting thing, like just to understand someone like in the real world that's like that as well, to understand like why that might be. But 100%, she's super frustrating.
I'm a little scared for her though in the later books because she's gonna be the blood strike to
Yes.
Marcus. But then I feel like I can anticipate her either like growing and becoming more contemplative about how like the world is with like all the slavery going on, because like Eliza's no longer there and she kind of has to think about it for herself, especially because she let him go. But then she also said like, this is the only time I'm letting you go. I'm like, we're enemies from now on the second you leave. And I'm like, okay, I can see it going either way. She's either gonna get better by herself or like Marcus is just gonna like have more of his like shitty values put on her.
Yeah. Also, I wonder how, like, I know she's super loyal, but I wonder, I say this as if I didn't read the second book, but then at this point, I forgot everything to the point where I actually did not, like, read it. But then, it's, I wonder if she will actually be, like, if, she'll probably see Elias again at one point in the future. So I wonder how, like, that will actually go down. Because she's like, oh, the next time we see each other, we're gonna be enemies. But at the same time, like, you know, she's like so loyal to him. So I'm like, I don't know.
When she gave him that speech, just like, oh, sorry. Like when she gave him that speech about like the worst thing that ever happened to me was loving you, I was like, oh my damn. This is
my god. That speech killed me. Yeah, I remember like sympathizing with her so hard.
Because part of me is like, oh my gosh, she's so annoying. She's getting in the way of Elias and Liar. But then I'm also like, she literally grew up with him. Like, I can totally understand this, like, friends to lovers, like, potential of their friendship. But, oh, it hurts.
Yeah. And also, it sucks because she's literally the only girl in the school. I'm like, this is so messed up.
Yep.
I feel like that probably gets revealed later on, though, like why she's the only girl.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Wait, okay. So I don't remember if this was talked about in this book, but was the Commandant also trained at the school?
Yeah.
Was she also like the only girl too?
I think she was trained at school. I like. There's like a heavy like they always say that she was like the only girl, like she's one of the only women who is like a mask and all that. So like her and Helene kind of go through similar things.
I genuinely thought Helene would be the one who would be the Emperor, but we were wrong.
Yeah, I think at the beginning of the book when I like first read it, I was like, oh yeah, Elias will be the Emperor. Like it's gonna go all really simple and straight, and then like I didn't know what I was getting into.
Yeah.
I was thinking like, okay, Sabaa wants us to think that Elias is going to become the Emperor, but I'm pretty sure the plot twist is that Helene is going to be the Emperor. I was like, okay, I got it. I got the plot twist before it actually happens. And then.
Yeah. But yeah, I agree with this peak white feminist thing. I think she's definitely like meant to be that character in the first book at least. I will not say how she evolved, but
I'm hoping for the best, but at the same time, I don't know. I have trust issues.
Yeah. I think what I love is like every character is not necessarily completely good or evil or like, you know, all of those things. So it makes for an interesting read.
Yeah.
I'm a little scared because I feel like a lot actually happens in this first book, so I don't know what's going to happen in the later ones.
So much happens.
Yep. And they only get longer too, I think.
Really?
Yeah, the third one was massive, I remember.
Oh my goodness.
I appreciate that it's... Oh, sorry, go.
I appreciate that it's a quartet and not like a trilogy, though. I feel like it makes it a little different.
Okay, yeah. I was literally just going to say, I was like, I like how it's not a trilogy because I feel like typically for trilogies, at least in like YA dystopia fantasy, like I think of Hunger Games or Divergent or even like Legend, the first book for me is always like the most action packed, and then the second book is like we're
It's just travel.
rebels, and then they're like traveling and like stuff happens, but like not really much happens. And the last one is like even like less plot heavy, and they're just like, we're the rebellion.
Yeah.
Happens. But then like I don't know, I have a feeling that it's not going to be like this in this, hopefully, I think.
I hope we get more of the magic system, because I think a part of reading with like the Jinn and the Wraith and the Nightbringer, I was like expecting more, but I can understand why they didn't show up yet.
Yeah. Definitely comes into more play in the later books.
Not gonna lie, it kind of reminded me of Throne of Glass in a sense where it's like you get the hints of the magic system, but then I had an anticipation that it wasn't going to really come in until later on.
Yeah, I totally feel that, because like sometimes I almost like forget that there is magic, at least in the first book. Like it's hinted with the augurs. Yeah, it's hinted with the augurs because they're like, I've been alive for 3,000 years. You're like, okay, that's not
An Ember in the Ashes. Yeah.
Yeah, and then like, this is your destiny, and like it actually happens, and so it's like, okay, there's definitely some sort of magic in it, but then it doesn't like show up in more clear ways until like at least really later. Oh yeah, and then this.
Yeah.
Okay, was it just me? Were you thinking of Tangled?
Yeah, actually.
I
was
like, oh my gosh, she's like Rapunzel or something. But that means like, I was just suspecting, like, is Helene like a magic creature then? Or is she just like, I don't know, because I don't know the magic system yet.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah, we don't, it's kind of, yeah. I hope we talk about the Commandant a lot more. Because also, I like Helene because she's like messy, but I also like the Commandant because she's also messy. At least I start to like her I start to like her after the, like, you hear about her backstory, because then you're like, oh, at least she has some sort of a conscience, even though it's totally messed up and evil and weird. But how did you get there?
I want to find out who betrayed her parents. Lai's parents.
I think it's Mazin. That's my theory.
Okay, I was like, I wasn't sure, because I feel like it wasn't explicitly stated. So I was like,
I think it's like hard to miss, with everything going on. I think I vaguely forgot that too, and then on the reread I kind of got it more, but now I'm kind of doubting myself because I'm like, was it it?
There's a lot. There's just a lot going on.
Yeah.
I also hope we get to see more resistance people, or at least like find out if Izzy and Cook are okay, because reading about the scenes about how I hate the Commandant, but like her mind is kind of cool in terms of like how she thinks of things. And just being like not saying like torture's good, like by no means is torture good, but being like, oh, like I'm gonna like get info from Cook by like torturing Izzy, or like it's terrible, but then it's also really interesting to read about.
Morally gray characters, just like, like she's terrible, but she like there's a reason why she is at the position that she's at, being the only woman in like all of history prior to Helene, and Helene only came in like way later, because I'm gonna assume that Helene is way younger than her. So yeah, you kind of have to like be terrible when the system is terrible.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see how they're going to break Darren out of jail. I feel like it's going to give me not like Six of Crow vibes, but like, oh my god, they're going to break someone out of jail vibes.
Six of Crows. Yes. Yeah, but I also feel like it'll like take longer than in Six of Crows, because I think in Six of Crows, like, at least in the beginning of Crooked Kingdom, I'm not gonna spoil anything, but then like I expected the breaking out to take a lot longer than it actually did. It was like
Well, I anticipated being like all of book 2. But it could be like, I don't know, it could be like just the first half or whatever.
Yeah.
I feel like this is hard because I feel like you don't want to say anything, so you're just nodding.
Oh yeah, I know. I'm just like nodding and smiling. Like I don't want to give anything away.
I think it'll be interesting to also like see Darren, because we actually do not see him at all in this. Like he like shows up in the beginning, like the first chapter or two, and then he gets kidnapped, or not kidnapped, he gets like, taken away, and so you only know him from Laya's point of view, and Laya's just like, my big brother, I miss him, family, you're the only one left for me. And it's like, yeah, but at the same time, like, how is he as a person?
Yeah,
and like,
who is he?
Like,
how do you feel like the world building in the other books like differ from this one, or how do you think it develops in terms of the change?
Like the later books in the series, or it gets bigger.
Okay.
Yeah, like the world gets bigger because like in this book it's like mainly confined to Black Cliff. Like both the characters are there, and most of the action's kind of happening there. So you're not really getting a sense of like the entire like martial empire and like all the things and the different kind of cultures and things going on. And so you get a lot more of that in the later books and how things are changing, and yeah, and there's like more power dynamics and maybe some traveling. Yeah.
I feel like the power dynamics are really interesting to read about because this was like inspired by like Roman Roman civilization. Empire. And then I heard someone talk about how it also took inspiration from like the colonization of Africa, but I don't know if that's like completely true. But
I don't know that one.
I don't know. It was just like interesting to read about because like we just finished reading The Poppy War for our book club, and that had like very big themes on like colonialism and imperialism, and then it kind of like had left that impression on my mind, and I was thinking of the same thing while reading this with all like the slavery and the annexation of the scholars. So I was like, oh my god, there's so many like, political things too.
Yeah, it definitely has that like that vibe of the way like they stamped down the like scholars like knowledge, and like because they're like the scholar empire, and so they had accumulated all this knowledge and like learning and all of that. And so one of the first things that like the martial empire does is try to stop that, because if they can't learn, then they can't, you know, rise up. If they can't read, then they can't rise up. If they can't write, you know, all that. So it's like definitely like a theme of like colonization.
I think that's what makes this book so much more interesting than like, let's be like, it's not like other YA fantasy, but like kind of, because it takes that inspiration, especially from like like when you have a woman of color writing these types of stories, you get to have those themes in the books that maybe like a white writer can't typically put in.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I always say that about like Gilded Wolves, because a lot of people compare it to Six of Crows, and I'm like, yes, it's a high story, but it has all of these themes of like colonization and like, you know, just anyways, it's just got so much more going for it. But
also kind of reminds me of Children of Blood and Bone to a certain extent, because like that is also like fantasy. I don't remember if there was colonization in it though, but I know it was like deeply in African, or like that specific African country culture. So it's cool.
Yeah. But I feel like you can't write about POC stories without talking about those themes too, because it's so important to who we are as people.
Yeah.
I actually don't know that, because some of the ways that she describes some of the characters, you get like kind of different skin colors for a bunch of the characters, like among the scholars and among the marshals.
I think isn't Elias like dark skinned?
So what I've heard Sabaa Tahir like describe when she's talking about like the characters on the cover, like when she's getting the actors for them, she said that she wanted a girl who looked South Asian and a boy who looked Middle Eastern.
Okay. Yeah. But is Helene like light skinned? I thought she was blonde.
Yeah, she's blonde. She's straight up looks like a white girl. And sorry.
It's okay.
No, it's so good. We're like,
It's great. It's good.
no holds
Sorry.
bar here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that makes it interesting then, because if she's like a white girl entering this academy that's full of like Middle Eastern culture, and then she has this power, and we get to see like Islamic mythology. Like,
Wait, is she the
How
only
does that
one that is white, or like?
No, I don't think so. Like that's what because I'm pretty sure Marcus is also like kind of. I think groups in Ember.
Sorry.
my first thought was like, if Marcus is white, that explains a lot.
Oh yeah, it's because Eliza is technically biracial, or probably is biracial because the commandant. Actually, I don't know if this is. I don't know if I'm spoiling something now.
Oh right.
Yeah, Keenan's a ginger. He was.
He's a ginger.
He's like,
Yes.
when he's described as like a redhead, I was like, oh my god, that's not what I expected at all.
Yeah. I remember that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, he's a redhead.
We are catching up on comments.
Yeah, same. Wait, is Marcus white?
I'm pretty sure.
I was like, if Marcus is white, that explains a lot of his character.
Yeah.
I was just so frustrated with him. He like the way that he talks about like sexually assaulting the females in the book. I was like, oh, this guy's terrible.
Yeah.
Brianna.
Sorry.
Sorry, has to play.
Sorry, Joe. You can't be Laya.
Has this book ever been discussed as like getting an adaptation?
I think it. Actually, I don't know. Nothing has like been confirmed or made. Yeah.
This book just feels so iconic for me, so I'm like very surprised that it's not getting much external like Hollywood interest as.
I think it's because it would be like a really expensive thing to adapt.
Yeah, there's a lot of fantasy elements that they have to like CGI and.
Yeah. And it is like you mentioned earlier, like it's just really similar to like Game of Thrones vibes. I'm pretty sure Game of Thrones is like really, really high budget.
Yeah.
But I think it could happen potentially. I know the series is really popular.
Yeah.
Or like, yeah, pretty popular. But I don't know. That's just like within our YA circle.
Yeah.
The extent of it. But if it were to be adapted, I'd hope it'd be like a TV show, because if it was a movie, there's no way you could cover all of that. Yeah.
I also feel like TV shows sustain the hype. With movies, it's not as much.
Yeah.
Especially like when I think of like the Divergent movies, where like they kind of just gave up on Allegiant.
Yeah. Oh my god. Well, that was the worst of the books too. So.
Yeah. I kind of think of also like the City of Bones movie. Like like that was not not a good choice to be a movie, because like City of Bones is also kind of similar into this in that like there's so much going on in the plot. Like there's no way you can fit all of that in one book. And then it just gets bigger and bigger, and the books like, more happens. So yeah,
the whole third act of that movie was wild. They decided to just change a bunch of things, but
yes, please
write it. We need it.
Wait, hold on.
No, I think it's a TV series.
There was. Oh, dang it.
I feel like there's been this resurgence of like 2012 to 2015, like YA books getting adaptations recently. Like with this, I think there was like The Selection, and then
really Selection?
Yeah, like Netflix is gonna get like adapted, and then we have like Shadow and Bone, which I'm like excited about, but that's like pretty old, so we'll see.
Oh
yes, plus one to this comment.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like Sabaa would like fight the fight to make sure that they didn't do that. I would hope, yeah. what they
Yeah. That was like a lot of the anger surrounding the Avatar live action reboot, and then like just yeah, I don't know.
Exactly.
Hopefully though, although like if it were to happen, we'd still have to wait like another 2 years before we can actually watch it. Oh wait, hold on. Yeah, you were right about like the rise of old like 2012 and 2015 books coming, because like there's the Percy Jackson.
Oh yeah.
Coming back.
Yes.
But
Different.
that can't be filmed for like a while.
Yes, I'm so excited for that one.
I'm so excited for that. Yeah.
I'm so excited because I'm like, I want to see, not to be like creepy, but it's like I can't wait to see like these little kids, and they're gonna be like the Percy and Annabeth, and then they're gonna like grow up and be like, oh my god.
Yeah. It's gonna be so good. I'm kind of sad though that Kane Chronicles went to where was it? Like a
Netflix.
Netflix, right? Yeah, because like I was kind of imagining like a whole like Percyverse, like Marvel Cinematic Universe, like, you know, that kind of thing. Like in like movies and shows and stuff, and it would have been so cool.
Do you ever think about like how, like first of all, like I honestly think Disney should just like build a Camp Half-Blood like theme park.
Oh yeah, they have so much money off that. Like,
yeah,
it just the potential.
It's all like the summer camp vibes too.
Yeah.
And there's like such a big fandom already. Like, just profit
it's
off of it. Like,
huge fandom.
I will give you my money.
Hear that makes like
yeah. Literally, like that series has been on the New York Times bestseller list for like 10 years.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I really hope it goes well.
Yeah.
We went on a tangent, but it's fine.
Yeah,
it's fine.
Let's see. Oh, I think earlier someone mentioned Keenan. I saw a comment. Oh, Keenan.
Oh, yeah.
Good point.
I think he kind of explains it a little bit, like because like her father like saved him and whatever. But then I do think like the romantic interest was a little sudden for me, because I think I was just getting used to the whole like Laia, Aline, like Elias like subplot of romance, and then I was like, okay, now there's another one. I was like, wait, where is this coming from?
Yeah. Also, it was really weird because like he was so rude to her in the beginning. Like he was like especially just like picking her out and being like, no, I hate you. Everything about you is terrible, blah, 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 blah. And then it just like shifts kind of really suddenly, especially since they don't interact that much, because she's like at Black Cliff.
Yeah, like the only interactions are like when she goes to like hand off something to him, like give him permission. Yeah. Oh, I don't know if you've ever read. Okay, have you ever read Gallagher Girls or like Gallagher Academy? Mm-hmm. Oh my god. Okay, so that was like a spy academy book that I think it's middle grade, but it kind of gave me similar vibes of just the whole like passing secret info and being spies.
Yeah.
Man, now I want to reread that series. That series is also really, really good.
Yeah, I remember like not liking Keaton because I was like, because before I started reading the series, I knew that like Laia and Elias were like a big ship for a lot of people. And so I went into it like expecting a lot of romance between them, and then like when it wasn't happening, I was like, why? But yeah, so I like didn't like Keenan from the beginning. I was like, no, stay away from Laia. Like Keenan and Elias are gonna be together. So
Did you read this book like when it first came out, or did you read it like after?
No,
like, when the second one was out?
Yeah, like I didn't even know it existed until I think a while after the second one had come out. It was like before the third one. I think I read both of them in 2018, I want to say.
Oh, that's pretty recent.
The dates came out at like the end of that year. Yeah, it was pretty recent because I like hadn't even known these books existed. I think it's because I had seen the old covers, and so the old covers never interested me. And then I saw the brown kids on the covers of these ones, and I was like, yes, give it to me now. So, Yeah.
We love seeing POC on the covers of books. We live for it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just sad, like, why the shift in editions would suck for people who are collecting, but I'm like not mad that there are brown kids, but I'm like, why didn't they do that the first time around?
Oh yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm sure some probably had like that conversation the first time they did
covers are
like,
so beautiful.
Yeah.
Like especially the fourth one. Like
Oh,
the purple, it's so pretty.
purple.
And they always have like little sparkles on the side.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's so pretty. And I didn't realize until I started reading that the silver was actually like metallic-y on the book.
Yeah. It's like kind of like a spot gloss thing. It's really pretty.
Okay.
Yeah.
We have around like 10 minutes left, and I know that because today's special, because we have a special guest. Does anyone have questions for Jananie?
Oh wow, just for me.
Or if we can just ask, like we can just chat, like it's totally chill.
Yes. Let's talk.
How has booktubing been like in quarantine?
Huh? Oh, that's an excellent question. It's been okay. It's like weird because this is also like the first year I've been working like full time, the entire year. So I've been like adjusting to that, but also quarantine and also trying to do booktube. So it's been a little weird, but yeah, it's been like an up and down ride, I feel like. But yeah, I'm like getting better at trying to be more consistent, I think.
It's wild. It's been first I think it's difficult to find the motivation when you're home all the time. I don't know how the restrictions are like in Canada, but here in California it's like some people are just like F it, I'm gonna just like not care. And then other people like I'm just like I'm not leaving my house unless I like really need to.
Yeah, it was like really bad. I mean, yeah, so we were all like basically locked down and everything, and then we started opening up, like my province in Canada started opening up in like June-ish. So we did a lot of like, let's hang at a park kind of far away from each other and get takeout, that kind of thing. Yeah, and then like you hang out with like your 3 friends maybe for all summer. But yeah, it's getting worse now because we're like kind of hitting a second wave, so most people are just staying home. So yeah.
It also sucks just because it's like mixed in with all like the flu and and also Canada's like so cold, so like it's like, sorry, but I'm just me being like my California self where everything is always 70 degrees. I'm like, wait, hold on.
Colder. We had the weather suddenly drop from like 90.
So horrible for you guys.
Like, I don't even know what you guys are like saying because like you're talking in Fahrenheit and we do Celsius here. So I'm like,
wait, let me convert it really quickly.
I think it's like 20 something. 20.
Okay. Yeah.
Wait, that's a big range.
20 is still warm.
No, we dropped from 32 to 21.
Suddenly? Oh wow. Wait, how
like
long
within
were you
this
at
past
32
week?
for? In this past week? Oh my god, that would have been so nice. Yeah, it's been like 20 degrees since like the beginning of September. Like it drops to like from like so yeah, like 30 is like the hot, like around where it is for like July and like beginning of August, and then like it starts to slowly go down, and then by the time it hits like mid-September, it's like 20 is like the high, and then it goes slowly down. So right now it's like 10 degrees.
Oh my gosh. When does it start to snow? Or does it snow?
Yeah, it depends. Like sometimes like mid-November-ish, I would say, but sometimes like you get like a little bit here and there, and then like a whole shit ton like in December or January-ish. So yeah, it depends on the year. But
see, in my mind, I'm like, oh my god, snow sounds so nice. But then in actuality, I'm like,
oh my god,
just like
winter tires and like shoveling like the driveway and trying to get to work. Oh my god, I remember I got like stuck in the snow last year trying to get to work, and I had to shovel my car out, and it was like a time. It was a good time.
Yeah. I mean, I've always wanted to live in a place where there are 4 seasons. I want to see the leaves change. Like I want to feel like the Gilmore Girls vibes. Like it's summer, it's
a very strong fall vibe.
Winter, but then like here, it's like it's really hot, like 6 months, and then it is kind of it's like I was gonna say 70, but then I don't know how much there's like 25. 25?
I'm just guessing. That's like 77 is 25.
Okay, yeah.
Right, it's like 21. Okay.
Okay, yeah. It's like 20, it's like 23 or so. And then at night it drops down to like 15.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's like typical. Yeah, it gets like cold here at night usually.
Someone asked the question, are you a Chinese fan?
I am. I am the biggest Shiny stan ever. It's like, yeah, I am a big stanner of things. Like I don't change ship very easily. Yeah, and Shiny has been it was like the first K-pop. They were the first K-pop group that I got into when I was like 11, and they have continued to be my favorite since then.
I don't know why, but recently I've been listening to their OST in Boys Over Flowers, the one where they sing Paradise. Yeah, it's so iconic, and I've just been listening to it on repeat.
Yeah, it's a good one. It's a good one. Yeah, actually, I love Donghyun had a OST for City Hunter. It was a drama that I watched like so long ago, and it's called So Goodbye. It's the sweetest OST ever.
Wait.
Oh man, the legend.
Wait. We have some requests.
Have you been this is totally like irrelevant, but like just for fun, have you been getting into mirror groups recently?
I haven't really, like, so I was really into K-pop when I was like younger and like middle school and high school and like in university, but like recent years I haven't, especially when like Shiny got a little bit more inactive. I wasn't following as much, but like I know of most of like the bigger groups. The newer ones, I'm like, who is this? What are they? How many people are in this group? But yeah, I mean, like, I'm always like open to like I'll listen to a lot of groups. Like I'm kind of like that with BTS. Like I'll listen to every one of their albums, but like I kind of don't know what's going on with them on a regular basis, or like
Same.
I think I know all the members' names, but
Same.
that's the kind of thing. So
I feel that. I got like super into K-pop when I was in high school and then like a little bit early in college. And then now I'm just like, I don't know any of the new groups. Like I'll listen to it if there's something like really big, but like I peaked after Twice and G-Friend and like BTS and Blackpink went off.
Yeah. I used to like watch like the variety shows and everything.
Oh
gosh,
like
I'm like a super fan. Yeah, and I can like understand like 40% Korean as well.
Yes.
I try. Yeah. Yes, this is true.
This is so chaotic.
He's so chaotic. Yeah. I love them.
Who's your bias in Shiny?
It was Jonghyun. Yeah.
Oh.
From the beginning. Yeah. It was his 5-shade blonde hair and Ring Ding Dong that got me.
Oh my gosh, Ring Ding Dong was iconic.
Yeah, that was the first song I ever watched. Yeah. It was good. Yeah, and I have all of his like solo albums, and I have a bunch of Shiny's albums as well. And I went to a concert that they had here in Canada a couple years, I think in 2017, like summer of 2017. Yeah. Wow, the amount of Shiny content I consumed when I was younger. I know like random facts about them too that like I wouldn't need to know, but I just know.
That's just the stan life.
Knows. Yeah.
I'm definitely like that with my favorite groups too.
Yeah. Jonghyun solo albums are A+.
Oh. Someone asked, "What's next month's book?"
Sorry.
Next month we're reading Pachinko.
Woohoo! Oh, I've been wanting that.
Have you read Pachinko?
I really wanted to. So.
Me too. Alexandra has read it before. I haven't, so we're really excited.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna try to get some guest people to join us for that, but we have not planned anything yet.
I mean, like, it's mostly because like last month our live was so chaotic and mentally late because we planned it and then we moved it back 2 weeks, and then it was last week, and now we have this week, this month, and so
I love it.
Early and planning the next one. So
it's all good.
All's good. All's good. Okay. Any final questions for Jananie?
Any final thoughts about the book?
Yeah. What did you guys think about the book?
I really liked it. I think I was kind of scared because I went into it with such high expectations, and I always feel like nervous reading a backlist book because I'm like, okay, like, times have changed. Maybe it won't live up to the hype. So I was really worried.
Yeah.
But honestly, like I really enjoyed it. I think the romance part was the part that I was like the most confused by, mainly because I was like, why is Helene butting into everything? Why is Keenan butting into everything? I just want to read about Lie and Elias.
Yeah.
But that was like, when I take a step back, I'm like, I can totally understand why that's necessary. And I was also really thrown off by how like tortury and like dark it got. So overall, I'm like, I'm at the point where it's like I do want to read the next book. Like I want to see what happens next.
Yeah.
So I'm like excited for that.
Yay! Last love.
Yes.
Not a question, just a statement.
Like not to be, but then I like watch her videos. I'm like, her like she's flawless. What?
Me like slathering on some makeup like 15 minutes before this live show. Yeah.
We love to see it. Okay.
Put on the effort for you guys.
Okay.
There's like one last comment. Like I feel like for me, I can.
Okay, yeah.
Ooh, I like that.
Yes.
Well, I love that like Liza's soldier, Liza's slave, Eliza's a soldier. Like neither of them is free. That's what like.
Yeah.
Oh wait, sorry, we didn't even talk about this, but the part where Eliza's like thinking he's gonna die, but he's like, I'm gonna die knowing that like I made the right decision. I was like, oh my god, yes, I love that.
The character growth. I love it.
Awesome.
And he like starts out at the beginning of the book, he's like, I'm gonna run away, I don't care about anything else, like all of that, and then at the end he's like, duty, saving other people, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, like I feel like it's so bold to be like, I have come to terms with my death and I know that I'm gonna die a good person. I'm like, that's a lot. Awesome.
Love it.
Yeah. And it's just the first book, so
I know.
you know the
I
next
gotta
one.
like reread
More.
the other
Have
two.
you done your reread of the second and third book yet or not yet?
I haven't, because they're kind of on the longer side, and I was like, I don't know if I'm ready for the emotional torture. And yeah, so I have like a bunch of other books to pick up, but I think I might just like binge read them at the end of November, right before the last one, so they're like really fresh. But we'll see.
Yeah,
Fantasy books are like an emotional investment.
They are.
truly.
Yeah.
Truly. Okay. Yay.
We have reached the 1 hour mark. Thank you all so much for joining us. Thank you so much, Jananie, for joining us too. We're so excited to have you.
Thank you. Okay. And we'll see you next time. Make sure you join us for reading Pachinko next month. Bye.